So we start from where we left. It's on perceptions. So the question here asked by the ascetics is a very simple thing, that when a person dies, when we say there is death, what is happening? The perception ends. That means whoever was perceiving is no longer there. So then the question comes, where does the perception goes? Where does it end? Okay. So when we say that we are having a perception, it means to recognize, to cognize, and to say that this is this. Like if I say I am Vilas, it's a perception. Now, can I change the perception? Yes. Can there be no change in perception? Also, yes. So then there's a question that what can we do? So from the beginning, people knew the art of suppressing perception, because that is what gives rebirth. They know it. Meaning, if you have certain perception, it will give rebirth in that place. It's not something new. They know it. Let's say, if I am believer of some tradition, like in the case of Thai tradition, and I believe in Ajahn, that's a perception. So will I be reborn using that? Yes, you are, because now you're reborn already. Your mind is already reborn with that perception. What about Goenka? Yes, same thing. As long as there is some fire to be given to the earth, so as long as there is fuel, as in wood, to be given to the fire, it's going to burn. So consciousness is one thing that keeps on burning. So when we say consciousness is mind, because starts with chitta, ends with vijnana. We have spoken it many times, so I don't want to take it at all, because we had enough of vijnanas discussion. So we don't have to go there necessarily and get into any kind of sidetracking. So when we have vijnana, it perceives. So if I am on Goenka technique, I'm perceiving Goenka technique to be true. So it takes rebirth. So now I am reborn in Goenka way of seeing. So my perception is changed. Okay, it's changed. So can anybody bring in sense to me that there is no Goenka technique? No, they can't, because I have change of perception. Okay. So with this, let's go ahead. Like that, everything, worldly thing, whatever, it's all perceptions. So the Paribhajjakas, they knew that perception is the problem. So they knew how to suppress the perception. So they learned 8 jhanas to come out of this perception. As long as there is perception, so long there is rebirth. If you cut off the perception, then there is no rebirth. Okay. Now, question comes. Like we looked into four of those, which we did last few days ago. That's an important aspect, that it is ahetuka, like that. So we have four. Okay, with that little bit of introduction, we will go further into the topic. So he says that Tatra Poṭṭhapada ete samana brahmana evam hamsu ahetu apachaya purisa sanya upajjantipi nirujjantipi aditovatesam aparadham tam kissa hetu sahetu hi Poṭṭhapada sapachaya purisa sanya upajjantipi nirujjantipi sikha eka sanya upajjati sikha eka sanya nirujjati. My dear Poṭṭhapada, it is not ahetuka, it is actually hetuka. Why I am telling that to you, Poṭṭhapada, is that you can manipulate perception from one thing to another thing. It's possible. You can change one type of perception to another kind of perception. Just like somebody going into Vipassana retreat, his perception is changed. Now he sees it as, let's say somebody had a bhanga jnana, so he will say it's particles. And another person will say, what stupid are you talking? There are no particles. Because his perception has not changed. The sanya has not changed. And hence Buddha says sanya is a mirage. Because you fight on sanya, perception. One says Australia is a good place to stay. Another says Australia is a very bad place to stay. Because that's what perception is brought him to. So from worldly things to this, it's perception based. So should you fight with anyone of perceptions? And the answer is no. So as we go deeper into Dhamma, we understand that it is only perceptions. There is no reality. So whatever one holds as a perception, treat it to be real. So those people who have gone for 20 retreats and 30 retreats and 40 retreats and hundreds of retreats and maybe thousands of retreats, they swear by Goenka because their perception is closed. Now they see the reality from their prism of eyes. So they feel that going there, they will get it. Why? They have changed the perception from one to another. Let's say a smoker was there, or a person was drinking, and he goes to Goenka retreats. And in 2 retreats, he quits smoking and drinking. Now he's shocked. How did I quit it? Because the perception is changed. So, what Buddha explains here, look, my dear friend, you can change the perception by training in one way. One kind of perception arises through training in another way. Another kind of perception ceases. You can create a way to create. Nirujjanti means goes away. So if I was a smoker, if I was a drunkard, if I was partying, by training in another way, I lose the interest to party. I lose the interest to everything. Perception is changed. It's working. I was angry person. It's a perception. I was angry is a perception. That's how self gets created. It's a perceived self, and hence you can change the self, and hence no self. You understand? The logic is like this. Whatever I'm holding is a self. Now, if I change that perception, that self is changed. I was partying person. So myself was partying. Now myself is not partying. Myself was fighting. Myself is not partying. Sorry, not fighting. Myself is a software engineer. Myself is no longer a software engineer. Myself was a miser person. And myself is not a miser person. You got myself is unhappy and myself is happy. The question is, who is this myself? Who in particular? If there was a self which is unchanging, then you can't change the perception at all. Myself married. Isn't it laughable that now Shaniel says myself married and myself divorced, and Aryu says myself married and myself divorced? Does it make sense? The self has never married, nor it has divorced. But as long as you hold the perception that myself married, you will suffer because yourself is married and myself is divorced. Like that, myself is employed and myself is unemployed. So now what I'm going to do? I am so restless or anxious that I cannot stand till November. So I'll call up Shaniel. She just wanted to check, is there any role I can take? I'm just putting it forward. Okay, so don't take it wrong. He's already taken it wrong because it's his perception. It's my perception. Because I'm trying to tell my manager also, keep it open because I'll come and join. If I don't get there, I have here. So because myself is unemployed. Got it. So can you not change the self? Just see, you can change the self. So that means there is no fixed self. So Buddha's argument is very nice. He doesn't go into anything in particular. He will argue using the same context. That's the beauty of Buddha. While these people are arguing on ahetuka, he's saying that, is it a condition or not there? And the answer is yes, there is a condition. Yourself, if it is married, yourself will get divorced. So yourself has children, tomorrow you will not have any children. Yourself has a family, you will lose the family. Because on training on one, you can remove the other. So you were trained to believe that you are married. So you got a perception, I am married. Now you have been given a new option that you are divorced. Okay, from today, after we sign off, I call you ex-husband and you call me ex-wife, and that's it. So we are separated. But the question comes, when were you together? Was there a time when you were together? Yes, we were. Again, ask yourself, was there a time in the entire life you were together? And the answer is no. You were not together. You had an arrangement to get married, which is a change of perception from single to double. If it was true, then why were you single when you were born? You should have been married while you came out. But it was not the case. You had to wait for the right girl to appear, which is a perception that she is right girl. And you fell in love, which is another perception. And then you get married. That's another perception. And then it did not work out. That's another perception. And it divorced. Another perception. So now, if you were to ask yourself is married or yourself is divorced? Yourself is neither married nor divorced. Or yourself, what has happened with that self? Cannot marry, cannot divorce. 4 questions. So then, Poṭṭhapāda is completely blank out. Kacha Sikha Bhagava Avocha. Kacha Sikha, what is the teaching? What's the learning? This is strange to me. Through one way you can do it, another way you will forget it. How? So he explains it so nicely. And here Poṭṭhapāda. So then he talks about either Arham, this is Itipiso Bhagava Arham and all that. And then he explains that, and we don't have to go there. And then he says, so aparena samayena appam pindaya charitva pindapatam adaya pacha gachati pacha bhattam pindapatam patikkanto निसीदति पल्लंकम आभुजित्वा उजुमकायं पणिदाय परिमुखं सतिम उपट्टपित्वा सो पापके अकुशले धम्मे पजहति शीलवा पटिपत्ताय पटिपच्चाय uppannā vā dittigata sankilesava anavajjena silena samannagato indriyesu guddadvaro bhojane mattanitto jagariyanam anuyogo sato sampajanyo viharati. So what he does is this. He observes the world and does a pindapata just for survival. He sees that every being is doing survival business. That's all. Isn't it true? So that's the first change of perception. They are doing something to survive. Every organization is doing to survive. That means we can call it as a group consciousness, so to say, as a group. Like if I'm working with ABB as a group, so it's group consciousness. But what are we doing? Survive the competition. And Shaniel's Half Brick Studio, what are they doing? Fight the competition. Survival. Now the question comes, why do you have to survive? Yeah, that's how life is. It's survival mechanism. So he agrees with survival. That's never survive. Right? Till you survive. You can't cut off. Done. Then he gets into Sila. So he sits down cross-legged, keeping his body straight, and establishes near the nostril, looking at the breath coming and going in his body. to cut off akusala. So can you change the perception by removing akusala? Yes. First step, 10 akusala. That's a meditation practice for me. 10 akusala. Not even one remaining. Now when I do that, he possesses a blameless virtue. Why? Because it is calming. That helps him get into Indriya Gutta Dwara. Indriya, the senses. Gutta, secret. Dwara is door. So what's the secret here? The secret here is you can withdraw the senses. So you just withdraw the senses. Great. Then, the moment you withdraw the senses, the bhojana matyanutta happens. Meaning moderation in eating. Because the senses are withdrawn. They no longer go out. And then Jagariyanu Yoga. Here people misunderstand to be something to do with sleeping. It's not physical sleeping. It's dullness of the mind. Either a gross dullness of the mind or the subtle dullness of the mind. Meaning to say, from the morning till the night, we are in a kind of dream state. We are not in reality at all. So, if I want a Jagariyanu Yoga, I should have established the guarding of the sense doors, without which this Jagariyanu Yoga is going to turn into Jain kind of thing, wherein I don't want to sleep forcefully. So it will be like paining yourself, but there is some self anyway, just as an information. I will then destroy the body, which makes no sense because you get another body if you lose this body. So it's up to the person to either properly understand or properly misunderstand. Because we are playing now with perceptions. Please understand. It's a play of perceptions. If you have a wrong perception and you strengthen that wrong perception, you can't come out of it. Because that is sanya becomes so strong that you can't see it at all. That is wrong. And then I'll start going in circles because I feel that is how it should be. So, for those people who would like to be awake in the night, reading some sutta, it talks about Jagariyanu Yoga. One piece of caution, as indicated in the Poṭṭhapādasutta, please guard your sense doors. The moment you guard your sense doors, the dullness disappears. The dullness disappears. You don't require sleep beyond 2-3 hours for the body alone, and the remaining time can be spent for meditation on the breath, not about anything else. Okay? Small piece of caution for those people like to change the perceptions because it's perceptions. And that was one another reason why I did not introduce the Girimananda Sutta way of seeing Asasanya, especially the Asubhasanya, because that might lead you to commit suicide. If it changes, if your perception changes into negative, and then the person would like to take out his life because he gets so disgusted that he would like to commit suicide. And there's a justification of that sort in certain suttas, where, as an example, Godika, he committed suicide. So some people would read some 5, 6 suttas which are there on suicide, and they justify that if that bhikkhu has done suicide, so I will also commit suicide. Because it's dangerous to change perception without proper practice and proper handholding. So, just a piece of caution, this sutta is very deep, very challenging, and also is easy because we are taking the self. What is self? Dhite dhite mattam, sute sute mattam, mute mute mattam, vinyate vinyate mattam is seeing it without a self. So we are taking one. That's because the self is a perception. So we have taken this sutta. So for those people who are new, or those people who are old as well and they have done many retreats, and those people who don't know how to change perception or how changed perceptions are going to work, I'm giving a disclaimer here. If somebody commits suicide, I am not responsible for that. Okay, before I proceed, because the next sections are going to be slightly easy, slightly complicated. I'll try to make it as easy as it could, but just be on guard. Okay. So you can change the perception. So Buddha says by this method, by creating sila, virtue, sense restraint, moderation and food, wakefulness, and there's sati sampajanya being there, you can change the perception from one thing to another. What if I don't have sila? Can I force fit on Indriya Gutta Dwar? And the answer is no. But can I suppress it? Yes, you could suppress it. How? Well, I can recite a mantra. What mantra? Iti piso bhagava araham samma sambuddho. That only is sufficient. All the time reciting and reciting and reciting and reciting and reciting changes the perception. Are you having sila? 10 immoral deeds are gone? No. But can you suppress 10 immoral deeds? Yes. Here is a danger. This danger is what makes an anariya kind, even though I'm reciting iti piso bhagava araham. Okay. So it has no difference between Hail Jesus to some mantras of the Hindus, to Allah O Akbar of the Muslims, or Iti Piso Bhagava and all of that of the Buddhist, and Namokara mantra of the Jains, and some other thing of the Sikhs and Zoroastrians and Hebrews, and all of the classes. It's the same, including some procedures of the Aborigines and the Peru kind of ayahuasca and all of that. There are shaman kind of procedures and all that. It's all the same. It's to change the perception. Now, what is this change of perception from a medical science perspective? Is to bypass direct mode network. That's it. That means you cut off the habitual patterns by just suppressing something. So the neurons firing will take a different route altogether and it will start to channelize. So I can even go for channelization, where a person can channelize something to me. That's called as transmission. I can go for transmissions. And I can go for magic, healing. I can go for Reiki. I can go for pranic healing. I can go for many other forms, Tai Chi, then Qigong, and so many other practices across the globe. I can go to Confucius and I can go Osho, I can go to Sadhguru, I can go to Ravi Shankar, and so many other gurus and thousands of things. Because the ultimate aim of all of these traditions is to bypass the default mode network. Okay, this is from brain scanning. If you want to look at neurosciences, it's exact correlation to that. If I take ayahuasca, or if I take LSD, if I take marijuana, if I take something, some weed or some plant or something, it helps me in changing the perception. And that's all I want. I can see God. Why? The perception is changed. I can see ghost because the perception is changed. Can I see my past life? Yes, the perception changes. And hence, I can see my past life. And that's true. You will see past life. You will see everything because it's change of perceptions. So the danger here is not removing the 10 immoral deeds, but suppressing with something is anariya. So the person gets into 8 jhanas in anariya but cannot sustain it. He comes back to a wrong existence. Just like Venugopal was asking the other day, I did not answer then because it is change of perception. So you need to know what perceptions can do and cannot do. You will be shocked to know you can change the whole perception itself. So you should be careful enough to know what to change and how it affects. Some people do some wrong things and they get completely mistaken by their experiences because they have not cleansed the mind of 10 immoral deeds. Example, let's say I'm a person who gets angry soon, but I'm suppressing it by etan santam etam panitam yadidam sabba sankhara samato sabbupadi patinisaggo tanhakhayo virago nirodo nibbana. I keep on reciting it and reciting it and reciting it and reciting it. What happens? It suppresses the emotions. And in its place, it becomes Savitakka Savichar, which is Etan Santan Etan Panit, which I've done in 2019. It works. I've attained all the 8 jhanas using that. And I've seen it's working. It works tremendously. But is it anariya? Yes. It is anarya. Why? Because the underlying tendencies for 10 immoral deeds still exist. To that extent, it is anarya. Still reciting what Buddha is saying. That's fine. That has got nothing to do with it. That's absolutely fine. So, can I enter into first to 8 jhanas using this? Yes. All the time, I can start with Etan, Santan, Nathan, Panitan, like that. How many times? As long as it can help you. This kind of doing is called japa. You're continuously working it out and working it out and working it out and working it out. What happens to perceptions? The perception of the world dips down. That means in the default mode network, I'm changing many variables. So the neural ability to connect to the same network is disconnected. And it establishes a new connection. So it is different. So I get into first jhana and I get into second jhana, get into third jhana. Now, take Goenka technique. Nobody tells you that you have to remove 10 immoral deeds in that retreat. You just take 5 precepts. And then you are not even interacting with anyone. So what happens? You change the conditions. So when you change the conditions, the perception changes. So what starts happening? You start looking at your nose, very sharp perceptions. Now you are able to perceive sensation below the nostril and near this area. After you're done for 3.5 days, or if you're taking a 20-day retreat, 7 days, or you're taking a 30-day retreats, 10 days, or you're taking a 45 days retreat, 10 days, or you're taking a 60-day retreat, 20 days, continuously watching here. What does it do? It makes the perception in this area very sharp. But have you removed the 10 immoral deeds? No. So what happens when you come home? You have brought back the 10 immoral deeds, and hence it stops working. So what does the drug addict do now? He will book another retreat. And what does a drunkard do? Exactly the same thing. What does a marijuana person does? He does the same thing. And what does the ayahuasca person does? The same thing. What does the mantra reciting person does? Same thing. Everyone does the same thing. And they start fighting on their own perceptions, saying that this technique is good and that technique is bad and this and that and this and that. But if it was so good, then why should you go again and again to that place? So, for those people who got addicted in something, Buddha Dhamma is de-addiction, not addiction. If we are addicted to something, it's a time to cut out those addictions. Okay? Because that's a perception. You're making the perception strong. So when the perceptions are strong, the rebirth is there. When you remove the perceptions, there's no birth. Simple. Okay. Now coming back to this, what he says, Sila, 10 immoral deeds. Please, Sila is not 5 precept. Please make a note. It's 3 plus 4 plus 3. 3 by body, 4 by speech, 3 by mind. That's it. Then, comma, Indriya Samvara. Don't miss this at all. If you miss this guy, you're in trouble. Okay, that's the second one. Then the remaining is automatic. That is Bhojana Matyanutta, moderation in eating. And then the last one, Jagariyanu Yoga, wakefulness. Not the wakefulness of the deep night sleep, it's a wakefulness from the morning till the evening because the sense doors are closed. So you don't require any sleep except for giving some rest to the body for digestive purposes only. So 3-4 hours of sleep sufficient. And basically, Sati Sampajanya, what saves you. So some people, they suppress. Even with Etan, Santan, Etan, Panitan, even with Itipiso Bhagava or Swakhato Bhagavata Dhammo or whatever you take, or with Karaniya Metta Sutta or Vratana Sutta, this one, that one, it is still Anariya. Simple. But I'm reading from the Buddha. Sorry, it doesn't matter from where you're reading or what you're reading. It's foolishness. So there's no point in blaming any other religion saying that they are doing mantra, but we are not. Everything is a recitation, and when you recite, it creates perceptions, and when it creates perceptions, it will throw out whatever it should throw out. Simple, straightforward. So for those people who have never attempted 8 jhanas, I sincerely request them to attain 8 jhanas, even in Anariya way. That's okay. First understand the 8 jhanas. If you have no idea of that at all, no point in arguing that you shouldn't get into 8 jhana because that person has said this thing and this person has said that thing. Keep all of them aside. First do it. Just do it. And come to Buddha Dhamma. Don't just say by not attempting to do it or not feeling that, well, we shouldn't be doing it, blah, blah, all that. That looks stupid. First do it. Because then you can see how the perception changes. Then you know what to do to end the journey. Buddha Dhamma is to end the journey, that is, end the suffering of rebirth. Right? So there's nothing wrong in seeing what is there and then come to Buddha Dhamma. Okay? Now, let's say if I do that, Buddha says that's not the end of it. Then I need to do the next step, 5 hindrances. Need to remove it. Now, here again, an Anariya can have a perceptions. He can suppress the hindrances for time being. He can push it on his teacher. I have faith in my teacher, and my teacher is teaching me everything. And in Kalama Sutta, Buddha says, don't rely on your teacher. Because that creates wrong perception again. No, I am relying on my tradition, Burmese tradition. Throw that in the dustbin. No, I am going by Thai tradition. Same. Sri Lankan tradition. Same. Tibetan tradition. Same. As long as you start naming something, the perception exists. You can't have any traditions at all. If you believe in traditions, please refer to Kalama Sutta, work it out as per that, and come back to Buddha Dhamma. Okay. Now, if I've done till here, I get pamoja, joy, this gladness. Then I get piti, which is joy and rapture. Pasiddhi, is tranquility. Sukha, happiness. Samadhi. All the six senses are now connected. They are not having conflicts because the sense doors are closed. Isn't that Nibbana? Yes, it is. Now he asked this question to Poṭṭhapāda. Do you see the perception has changed, my dear friend, from one to another? As you do this, the previous perception is gone. Yes. So for those people who think there is no free will, their argument is dead. For those people who think there is God who is going to do something for them, their argument is also dead. For those people who think it happens in random, their argument is also dead. And for those people who think karmically it is possible, their argument is also dead. And the last one, which has happened recently, is they all work out on paramis, which is equivalent to saying, I believe in God. Or you should have paramis. That argument is also as fabricated as the rest. It holds no justification in anything. So he says, this is how you do it. And after that, what you do? You come into the first jhana. This Poṭṭhapāda is the training. That means he says that now I'm giving you the training. Poṭṭhapāda knows this first to 8 jhanas. Now he's giving him step-by-step approach with Sati Sampajanya. So now what happens? It's good for Poṭṭhapāda to change his wrong perceptions. So now he knows what's the right perception. So he says, this is my training. So he says, so vivecheva kamehi vivicheva kusala dhammehi savitakam savicharam vivekajam piti sukam patamam jhana upasampajya viharati tasaya purima kamasanya sa nirujjati. So we have changed the perception of kamasanya. Do you see, my dear friend Poṭṭhapāda, I have changed the kamasanya. If there was a self, it wouldn't have allowed this to happen. Can you not see ahetuka is what you're saying? Isn't it true that there is hetuka? Do you not see that there is free will to do whatever you want? You decide what you want. If you do this, it starts working because consciousness has no conditions. It will do what it is supposed to do, to perceive. It just perceives. It doesn't matter what it perceives. It can perceive wrong things. It can perceive right things also. Wrong thing perception is called as ayoniso manasikara. Right thing perception is yoniso manasikara. But kim sambhava sabbe dhamma, manasikara sambhava sabbe dhamma. What makes it possible? It's manasikara, making up your mind. So it's, can you not see? You just made up your mind to drop 10 immoral deeds. And that's it. Your journey begins. I don't want to drop 10 immoral deeds. Sorry. You can suppress it. That's still possible. But doesn't give you the right rewards. So he says, at that time, his earlier perception, sensual pleasure ceases and arises subtle perception of the truth of rapture and pleasure born out of seclusion. Thus, through training, one perception arises, and through training, another perception ceases. This is the Buddha's dispensation, what he says. This is what we are doing. Do you have such a step-by-step instruction, Poṭṭhapāda? The answer is no. Now we go further. Shaniel, what time you need to drop off?
In about 10 minutes.
Okay, so then I will not deal further. So I'll cut it here. Any questions? We can take 7 minutes we have, because the next turn forward it will go like going into the forest.
Mhm.
Any questions, any insights, any concerns, or anything from anyone? I think Venugopal, by the time this ends, you would have got your answer to what you have asked yesterday.
Yes, sir. I got answer, sir. Means perception is changing now.
And that's the reason I was saying, let's give it a time, it works. Okay, anyone, any questions? Otherwise, we can end early also. Yes, sir, you go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have much question, but I guess the one small thing I understood from what you said about the Kama Sutta, when you said don't rely on these 10 things, ultimately he's saying don't rely on perceptions.
Yes. Because the self is a perceived reality. Like I said, myself is divorced. Myself is hungry. Myself is thirsty. Myself is rich. Myself is poor. Myself lives in Bangalore. Myself lives in Brisbane. Which self are you talking about? Like, now you can say myself stays in China. You're out of Mountain View. Yourself now, your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind is perceiving China. You no longer can perceive United States. And Shaniel cannot perceive Cupertino or Mountain View or anything for now, because myself is not there in Mountain View. What are you talking? Yourself is there where? In Brisbane, in some forested land, whatever land he has, his self is there. Now he moves out of that room and goes somewhere. His half-brick studios self is gone. Myself was sitting there and myself is not sitting there. Such a ridiculous argument. And if you can stay like that without a self, you're done it. It's a relief. So this is the 9th day of mine in that state. It's crossed 7 days. I don't know what change has brought in. So I was asking Lata yesterday. She said, for the very first time in your eyes, I'm seeing so calmness. And she said another thing. In the meetings, I used to feel so connected and showing the slides and all that. For the past 2-3 days, we are having a lot of heated stuff. And I'm just listening, accepting, making tons of slides for process and how the development has to happen. So we are coming up with a new way of working, which was not fully implemented, but I can see the change. And she can also see the change. It's 9 days. And there's a change in my voice as well. I'm not feeling excited. Yes, Saryu.
First, very happy for you. Second, I was thinking maybe, I think there's some myth that if you've achieved it, then within certain time you have to either leave the world or die.
No. Yesterday, Lata asked me the same question. I said, I don't know whether I have reached or not reached. I don't think so. I have, but let's see. So I'm experimenting further. But I can now see the difference of the self and now. It's quite different. It's really fun. It's very nice, actually. I have never experienced like this before. Meaning, I was telling Ravindra that day it started. And from that day to today, it's been a month and a half of the first experience I had on Idli. And now it has stayed. It initially dipped, which I told Shenier, but then came back. But it's never left. Earlier, it had left, meaning by evening, back to square one. It's nice. I don't know what you guys see in me, but that's exactly what's happening.
You seem much calmer. I've noticed as well. You know, your voice, how you are.
Yeah, 9 days, a different feeling for me. It's truly a different feeling.
Very good. Super happy for you.
Yeah, and it's something so tremendously like, like you're not moving anywhere. There's nothing to move. You just stilled up. And even in the meetings, I normally get hyper. Okay, and I want to prove that okay, this that doesn't work, and then this is not the way to do it. And I'm literally cutthroat if saying that, because I believe that if you take an assignment, you should finish it. So if they say that, oh, you got delayed and all that, I'm very upset. But for the last few days, I'm feeling somewhat different. That okay, he said, okay, let's see on the releases what happens. So it's nice.
Good for you, Vilasji. I have to leave, but
Yeah,
I will.
okay, all right. Yeah, so we'll meet on Monday.
Yep. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you. Bye bye.